I think what we're going to see from this committee is a lot of noise. There's no question about it, right? Maxine Waters is not going to take a backseat to Ocasio-Cortez. That's not going to happen. These two are going to be battling back and forth for the headlines. The interesting part is they really can't get that much done. However, they are going to cause a lot of indigestion in the big banks without any question, right? Because they do have subpoena power. So we can't dismiss this committee because they do have the power to bring people in and grill them.
We're not
so it's not going to be quiet.
I'm just missing the fact that Ocasio-Cortez really has all that power and really knows what she's talking about when it comes to economic policy.
Well, let's say that you were quite right to point out the idea of a 70% top rate over $10 billion you might be a lark to get to that. I know Dave has some numbers we'll get to in a second about how realistic it is to pay the advertised top rate. But that aside, we do know that the House Budget Committee chief coming in, he does want to raise corporate taxes from 21 to 28%. So the direction, at least in the House, is higher taxes, right?
Sure. And when we talk about a higher corporate tax rate, that's very different than having a higher personal tax rate on wealthy people. At the end of the day, when you have we're talking about, this committee is also about the deregulation and really coming in on the deregulation, having more regulation come in there. They don't like the fact that President Trump went in there and tried to, deregulate all of these antiquated tax codes. So that was another point that Ocasio-Cortez was trying to make, that we need to go back to more regulation. It doesn't make any sense. When we have deregulation, that's how the economy moves forward. And this is something that if they actually knew what they were talking about, they wouldn't be saying these kind of things.
Well, and let's get real. I mean, when there was a 90% tax bracket, highest marginal tax was 90%. She's always mentioning, the Eisenhower years, we had a 90% tax rate and things looked pretty good. The top 1% was paying 30% of their income in taxes. There were so many deductions. So 90% tax back then was actually a 30% tax after you added in all the deductions that they took.
Then why did we even bother lowering if that was the case?
It's a great, that's exactly the point that JFK made. He said, because he was a great supply side tax cutter. He said that, look,
he wanted to bring it from the 90+% to 70%. And it came into effect after he died.
Yeah, right? And he said that the more we lower tax rates, the larger the income for the government will actually be. And he was exactly right. It's the same argument that Ronald Reagan made. So Ocasio-Cortez, please look at the numbers. When there was a 90% tax rate, the top 1% were paying 30%.
But Dan, I think it's all about the message that rich people like yourself have gotten away with murder, and that's going to end.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that as it pertains to me, Neil, but thank you.
Anything I can do to help.
Look, it's what people like to hear. She's appealing to the masses. She's a populist. To me, there's very little substance in what she's bringing forth. Will anything get
done? I mean,
nothing is going to get done.
The Senate's in another party's control is the White House. So whatever comes out of the House dies in the Senate, right?
Yes. So this is all about, in my mind, 2020. Let's see how we can get our bases riled up. We have to take out Trump.
That's a very good point. This is all about setting the stage for the issues that are going to galvanize voters in 2020.
Absolutely. So it's all about galvanizing your base, and these things are going to appeal to the Democratic base, which we see is shifting left.